All right. Welcome to my channel. My name is 12 Gauge. If you've been here before, you know about my channel. You know about the things that I place on here, the emphasis that I place on knowledge, intellect, analytical thinking, and the things that go along with that. Um, Today, I'm going to focus on a Texas true crime case that has been going on for about a month now. It hasn't gotten much exposure, but I'd like to bring some new information and some other avenues to light. And hopefully, if you are in the Texas region and you're obviously looking for Caleb, this helps you out a little bit. And it gives you another insight on who it is that's actually missing. Um, we got a ring door camera of his last whereabouts outside of his apartment. We have a map that we can look at, and we have a Facebook page that has some clues on it that can give some distinctive, up to date, real clues versus fake, made up things like that, speculation, stuff like that. So, without further ado, let's go ahead and get going with this. Like I said, my name's 12 Gauge. Welcome to my channel. I hope that you enjoy what I put out today. If you have any comments, leave them at the bottom. If you enjoy this, please subscribe or tell your friends. I'm going to put a poster of Caleb so that if you do have any of your information, please take down the number and call the Corpus Christi Police Department. And here we are. Reward for a missing person, Caleb Harris, last seen March 4th, 2024. A reward of $25,000 is being offered for information that leads to the safe return of Caleb Harris by March 31st, 2024. If you have any information, please contact 361-826-2950. Once again, 361-826-2950. Take a good look at Caleb. Caleb was an avid fisherman, and on this ring cam footage, I'm about to show you what he had on last based on the ring cam footage.
A car is more than just a way to get around. It's a milestone,
Of
part of
course, we
life's
have to
big
wait for an
moments that
ad.
we remember forever. Whether you're a solo traveler or filling up on passengers, at Rally Credit Union, we're all in. As the #1 auto lender in South Texas with 100 dealership partners, we have everything you need to get those keys in your hand. Because a financial partner to get where you're going, that's something we all need. Rally Credit Union, banking for all.
Academy, continuing our coverage this Friday night into the urgent search for Caleb Harris. Tonight, we're reviewing new video of the Island University student appearing to be from the last night that he was seen.
A ring camera capturing some of his last movements before his mysterious disappearance.
So take a look here. Caleb can be seen in the parking lot at his off-campus apartment complex off of Ennis Jocelyn around 1 a.m. He was with one of his roommates, a friend, outside playing with a dog. Caleb's face visible as he looked toward the ring camera before they make their way back in the other direction on that night in early March.
And the search for Caleb Harris now in its third week. Just yesterday, his parents offering a reward of $25,000 for his safe return. Now, to create a sense of urgency for anyone who may have information and hasn't come forward yet, a deadline of March 31st has been placed on that reward. You can call Crime Stoppers where you can remain anonymous. And we will, of course, continue to follow this story and update you with any new developments.
Okay, so there's the flyer. There's the ring camera information. As you saw, he was wearing blue jeans, a white shirt. a Bass Pro hat, it looked like. It looks yellow. And he's barefoot. So I'm about to show you the apartment complex to give you a little more insight on some information that I'm going to show you later on. So this is the college, not the college, what am I saying? The Commons. Good grief, Mark. The cottages. Okay, this is the cottages, apartments in which he lived. So as you can tell, because I'm not going to be able to show you this in another angle, I already looked at this earlier. As you can tell, they're townhomes or they're duplexes, condos, where in the back of the building they have like a patio. This would be either the kitchen area, this would be another dining area, or possibly living room. This would be a bedroom if there was 2 bedrooms upstairs. So there's no real exit around the back of these apartments. Okay. What is going on with this map? So what just happened there? It like took me back in time to like whatever year that was, whenever it was a different apartment complex. Okay, let's try this again. As you can tell, the landscape is pretty flat. And you're going to notice in some of the information that I give you later on, they refer to a bridge. Here's a bridge right here. And then we'll go back to the apartments. Here's a bridge area right here. Okay. And here in Texas, I don't know where you're from, but we call this a bridge. You know, under the bridge, here's the side of the bridge. And I'm going to give you some more insight whenever I get to the part where I'm going to show you a clue that was given that could give more insight about what happened that night with Caleb. Okay, I don't know why. Okay, I was about to wonder why won't it let me in this apartment complex. Okay, so here is just an example of a building, and supposedly there was a ring cam on, not this one obviously, but on one like it, where it showed Caleb and his 2 friends in between 2 cars and a little dog looking like a poodle or something, and they were watching it. And as you could tell, Caleb's not a small dude. So he looks about 6 foot or taller. It won't let me go very far down, but no telling where these apartment complex where he lived was. But as you can tell, there's only one way in and there's only one way out. It is a gated community. So if Caleb came in this way to get into his apartment, he would have left this way to leave. So if he left barefoot, see, there's a little trail right there. Because people are like, well, how could he have got out if he was barefoot? Well, he's a fisherman. So, I mean, I would believe that being around rough terrain would be not a big deal for somebody like Caleb, who was used to being, around certain situations where being barefoot was not a big deal. Because, when you're fishing, sometimes you fish barefoot. And here is the other side of that bridge that I was showing you. If you're not from Texas, I don't know what's up with my mouse, but always when I'm live. If you're not from Texas, This is a Whataburger. If you've never had a Whataburger, you don't know what you're missing. I want you to look at these areas right here because these are some areas that are going to be brought up in some information that I share with you later on. And I'm not really going to switch back and forth to the map because it takes a lot of time away from what I'm trying to show you. There is a CVS pharmacy, but keep in mind that there were phone pings that happened along this route, okay? Not this far down, but here's the bridge that if you come up here, you make a left, it takes you down to his apartment. So there's a store, there's a Comfort Suites. And there's not much else. You know, they're just an average big city looking area. This is what most Texas looks like in the bigger cities. Corpus Christi is not a small city. And I think I've probably been down this road once or twice. But keep in mind all this area and all this location because I'm going to be talking about Snapchat things that happened to give you some insight. So I want to give you the map visual and we will get back to it. But right now I'm going to share you a Facebook page that's been brought to my attention by something that I was reading earlier. And I started reading on it. And it gives you a lot of insight about this case. I can already hear it. He's the guy that clears his throat all the time on the mic and blows your eardrums out. Sorry, guys. I don't know what's up with the allergies and stuff in this area. But the Facebook page is called Missing Talk of Caleb Harris. So here it is. If you have Facebook, you might go and add yourself to it, join the page. It's ran by Priscilla Carlisle, which is a friend of the family. She says, a request has been made by the family. A family friend is preparing to drive from Oklahoma to search for Caleb. He planned to bring a boat with side imaging sonar. It's a long trip, pulling a large boat. Is there anyone locally who has this type of equipment on their boat and would be willing to team up with this man to search local bodies of water? So we have an individual that's been willing to drive from Oklahoma to search for Caleb, and that was another missing person. His name was Jerry Zamora. This question says, which movie theater did Caleb work at? If it was Century 16, maybe he was on his way to the theater with someone he knew. The pain management building is not far from that theater, just a thought. And someone points out the obvious. The theater is not open at 3 a.m. in the morning. So that is a perfect example. Even though you want to bring out thoughts about this situation, you don't want to just put stuff out there just to put it out there. You got to think about everything. You know, at 3 in the morning, what's he going to be doing going to a movie theater at 3 in the morning? Honestly, what's he going to be doing at 3 in the morning going to a movie theater barefoot? This is the one that I wanted to show you. This one's an anonymous participant, but this guy seems to be very credible based on what he says. He says, hello, I may or may not have some helpful information that could help find Caleb. For starters, I've been neighbors with Caleb at the cottages for a couple years. I lived even longer next to the roommates. I'd hang out with them. We'd grill burgers, play chess or video games, and strum the guitar. I wasn't super close with Caleb, so I never knew his personal life. I knew his hobbies and saw him daily. But since August 2023, we lived on opposite sides of the complex, so I would only see him here and there. But I did go over to his place the day after he went missing and the police were called. I talked with his dad and the roommates and their family and helped out in any way I could. At this point, we were alarmed, but it had only been one day, so hopes were still high he'd come back from hanging out with a friend or something. I offered my help to detectives and told them every bit of information I could think of in a few minutes they took to talk to me. They took my name and said they were going to call me down to the station, but never did. After I told the detectives everything I knew and never got called down, I just thought nothing. I'd shared what was helpful to them and they were pursuing other leads. I figured they'd call me if they needed me. What I'm about to share might sound ignorant, but at the time I really didn't think of what I just put together recently. Was Caleb lured out of his house and into the street or parking lot and picked up, abducted by an online predator? I hadn't really considered this option much until I was looking back on things and brought up a detail I witnessed, and we came to the possibility. The thing is, when I went to Caleb's place that day, I remember we were trying to get into his computer. The detectives were there in his room, maybe unaware of what we were doing. We finally got in, but only a minute or two. Our reason for getting in was to find the Uber receipt and to see who the driver was. But as soon as we opened the computer, there was a selfie picture of a half naked girl from the waist up in just a bra. Out of respect, I sort of looked away, but not before noticing that her face was covered up in some way, like a red square edited over to cover up her identity. I believe this was a picture in Discord with someone he was talking to, but I can't remember at all. I figured it was a girl he was into at the time, but I did tell police about it, as did others, and I've called to report it recently once again, but still haven't gotten questioned about it or more information about it. A lot happened that day, but I've come back to this tip because it just seems weird. I just didn't process it in the way and was really just focused on the Uber driver and hoping Caleb would turn up that afternoon. I've called the tip hotline the last couple weeks, but they've just been rude or acted like there wasn't any evidence or enough detail to what I was saying. I followed this thread only to comment a bit, but never had anything to post. If anyone knows if his socials or computer has been cleared or is still being investigated, I'd be curious to know what's been found. I'm assuring the police have keep this sort of thing private. The cop who was in charge of searching the computer came and took over minutes later, and we didn't get to look at anything else. I don't know how well the laptop was searched, but I'd assume they've had experts looking through every piece of his computer for evidence. Let me know if you have any information on what we might have made public. God bless. I want to read to you some of the comments, though. That's where it really starts to tell you a lot of things that you really haven't heard in other places. Okay, so it says, yes, it does. And the weird thing, wait, hold on, let me go all the way to the top. That could be very well be a possibility. Maybe a guy posing as a girl or something. So they found a selfie of a half naked female on his computer. Obviously, he was looking at it on the Discord. He's barefoot. Here's two clues right there, okay? So, in your analytical mind, what would that tell you? I'm looking at a female. She sent me this picture. We've been talking. We didn't get to hear what was typed out, but we're smart enough to know if you've been talking to this girl that you're into, possibly you're going to want to meet up or something. He was about to go on a fishing trip, so maybe he wanted to meet up with this person. I'm not speculating because I'm not saying this is what happened. I'm saying these are some theories of the clues that have been presented. It says, the reason that I want to show these is because there's a lot of stuff in here. Okay, it says Of course, this is important. Make them hear you, make them pay attention, not only LE, but the family as well. There's many kinds of ploys that all various traffickers use to draw victims out, and this is only one of them. Corpus Christi has a huge trafficking problem. Whether the public knows it or not, please keep telling this story. It says, yes, it does. And the weird thing is, the are very aware of houses, businesses, and even churches in very specific areas of town. And I'm just beyond shocked that they never get raided, shut down, or anything. When I first found out about the one church I know of, I wanted to go shut it down myself. It's huge here and has been for years. So, when I first heard of this case and I got to thinking about it, and then there was some talk about possibly him being abducted, it got me to thinking, I've worked with criminal offenders for about 19 years now. Um, and one of the things that I've heard along the way of them sitting across from me is I've heard a lot of stories. Some of it true, some of it false, some of it made up and embellished, but you get to read between the lines. So, one theory that I know of, and this personally happened to me with my uncle that I shared last night in my live, he was lured to this house where this female that he was seeing, called him over. We're going to hang out. I made dinner, blah, blah, blah. Well, he was into drugs really bad, and he owed, I guess, some drug dealers a substantial amount of money. So there was a hit put on him. Well, he was lured over there. He arrived. Three guys jumped out, attacked him, stabbed him, broke a beer bottle over his head, stabbed him with the broken bottle, twisted it, did a lot of damage to him. He ended up succumbing to his injuries. Well, that got me to thinking about this situation as well because, a lot of times it's not just hearsay because most of the time people don't meet people in person anymore. They meet them through online chats, they meet them through online dating apps, things of that nature. So you really don't know who you're talking to. And I'm going to get to a lot of that here in a little bit, but I'm just bringing this up because this could be very much a theory, you know. And does it make it malicious? Does it make it nefarious? No, because I myself have talked to females online. I've, made some online meetings and things of that nature. And for the grace of God, I've never been attacked or anything like that. But that's not what you're thinking about when you're making these meetings up. You're wanting to go hang out with them, see what they're about, things of that nature. Well, I'll keep going. It says, can you share the names of the businesses, church, and address of the houses? It would be helpful to know, especially for families who live near. Okay, so this other one says, um, keep reaching out to his family. My cousin had this happen to him recently, and he thought it was a girl he was talking to. It was not, and they blackmailed him with pics he had sent to her as well. He was so distraught about it, he almost took his life and left that university. Maybe he went outside to meet her. I would keep pressing that. Look into this. I think there's some something there. I do too. This is unfortunate, not uncommon. Since having an adolescent, I've gone to several school sponsored talks about smartphone safety and how these scenarios play out, starting in adolescent, pre adolescent kids, the fake identities, trading photos, and blackmailing the person with threats of releasing the photos to their family and friends. It's awful, and young people have taken their lives due to how distressing it is or been lured away from their home under false pretenses. So, do you see the pattern here? And as I've always talked about, when you're gathering information on something, I'm not investigating this case because I'm not an investigator. I'm looking into the clues to see for my own self what I can gain from this case. That's it. I'm not an investigator. There's a lot of people that call themselves investigators because they're looking at the clues and trying to solve the case. I'm not down there on the ground looking at evidence about where he lives or anything like that. I'm doing it on a computer screen. It's not the same thing. the next one. I like this comment right here. It said, the fact that she had face covering says a lot. In my opinion, I would think that detectives had taken the laptop and scrubbed it to see if there was any helpful information. I'm sure they did. They should be able to connect an IP address to that picture. I also want to note that I've seen several people on here state that they've called the tip line and felt like they aren't taken seriously or that the person taking the tip is rude. I understand the tip line is probably gets a lot of calls, but they're making people feel unheard. Why would people even want to call? And that brings me to another. When I read that, I thought about the Idaho 4 instantly because when I when I was looking into information on that case and things like that, and they were talking about the tip line, that's one of the things that they said is, the tip line was either hard to get a hold of or people just weren't taking their tips seriously. Or like that gentleman said, um, they said they talked to us and they never got a hold of us. Things of that nature. Let's go ahead and keep going down here. Said, did Caleb have a girlfriend? What I wondered also, it's been said on here previously, no. I can tell you this, no social media accounts or computer can be cleared. Anything and everything that ever hit the cyber is traceable. The cloud is everywhere. It may take some time, but it absolutely can be eventually be accessed. Although technology is improving every day and continue to be indefinite, this case can be solved. Look at the cases from decades past that are now being solved due to advances in technology. Many of these cases didn't even necessarily involve data use. See, this is comment after comment. And they're talking about Discord. I'm going to keep going. This is not the only post I'm going to show you. It says a psycho X from the girl on the computer that might have acted like he was her waiting outside, and then he vanishes. Very plausible, easy money trafficking. The more society becomes aware and adjust, the more they adapt. This person says, or someone connected to food delivery he ordered. I mean, it just maliciousness all the way around. He looked like a very. I don't want to. I don't want to prejudge him by his pictures or anything like that because everybody can smile, everybody can look presentable, and I'm not trying to victim shame here, but we don't know these people. We look at their social media pages. Caleb looks friendly. Riley looked friendly. The Idaho 4 look friendly, but we don't know them. We don't know them. We don't know. There's a lot of drainage ditches in this area and sketchy wooded areas by Holly and Rod Field by the duck pond. Obviously, there's people searching. This person says, I've looked in that area, walked down that exact area. There's the one that follows all the way towards Airline Road. Okay, this is the one that I want to talk about that I was telling you about earlier. It says, I am currently searching following all the info that the friends and the pings have put out. From his apartment following the drainage ditch to Rodfield Crossing, Rodfield heading to pain management, then walking down Rodfield to the duck pond, then cross the street to the homeless camp where he was last seen, the trail and information there. See, this person has some insightful information, whether it's true, whether it's not. It's more information than I had 30 minutes ago. I didn't know anything about this person really, or what has been going on. He's been missing for a month now almost. Another homeless camp. And I'm not trying to blame the homeless here, but come on. If you've ever been around a homeless camp, it's almost like as bad as a hood in any kind of community. There's a lot of different personalities, a lot of mental issues. There's a lot of people that are very sketchy. I mean, it's not a good situation to be in, especially if you're barefoot at 3 in the morning. This person says, with the homeless camp on Holly, I remember seeing something about Holly Road. Yes, right across from the duck pond. Circle drop pin with the homeless camp. Top right circle of the apartment complex. Okay, so here's the homeless camp. Here's his apartment complex. So it's not too far away from his house. Here's that interstate that I was telling you about where all those businesses are on the other side. So could he possibly have been walking down this area, walked down that street and pinged right here? Who knows? I mean, I'm just giving the information that I've found on him. So if you want to continue to go looking down there, if you're in the area, or call police if you have any valuable information that you might find for this individual, he needs to come home. He needs to be found. A month is too long for somebody's family member to be lost. It says he probably crossed Rod Field under it in the drainage tunnels under the street. His phone pings again at the clinic where open culvert is. Either he was hiding or chased in there and got turned around. If he tried to walk out the wrong way, he could be miles back in the tunnels. I mean, there's people just trying to figure it out. Just trying to figure it out, just like everybody else. And here's another thing that I'm glad that people are able to get on here and instantly talk about, because this is going to end up turning out to be untrue. There's a person walking in that video the man posted when he panned the camera across. Looks like they're wearing a hat. That would be the individual. I don't know how they can see a hat, but this person says the guy that was there said it was the owner of the vehicle being towed, and he is in a white hoodie. Don't quote me on that. I know all you want it to be Caleb, but it's not. I was there at the owner of one of the vehicles walking back and forth, talking to the police on the scene. And see, that's good information right there. That is some good stuff right there. Because, whenever you start hearing stuff or you see videos and you're like, oh, that could be him. I mean, my sight's not that great anyways. I should be wearing my glasses, but I'm not. But, if you see things like that, I'm not saying people can't see things. But, if I can't see it, I'm not going to take somebody else's word on it just because they see it. This next one said, did Caleb have a Tinder or POF? That's plenty of fish. Maybe he met up with someone who wasn't the someone he thought. Someone posted his Tinder, not sure about POF. And they're going to get a warrant to obviously search those. Nicole Owens, I agree with this completely. My son is the same age and knows of Caleb, would see him at the same hangout, and has said the same thing. He believes a girl or someone pretending to be a girl, but this is only assumptions. My thought too, him giving a snap of I'm at the bridge for someone that had never been there. Let me get out of this for a second and show you why I spoke on that a couple minutes ago. Let me see if I can get back to where I was. I don't know what's up with this little yellow dude, but he's annoying to say the least. Okay, perfect. Okay, these are his apartments. So that statement said, he snapped somebody and said, I'm by the bridge, to someone who had never been there. So here's the bridge. And like I told you before, here in the great state of Texas, we call this a bridge. How simple we are here in Texas. We call this a bridge, viaduct, overpass. But most of the time we call this a bridge. And I know that probably sounds funny to people that aren't from Texas, but that's why I wanted to show you these little areas earlier. Because I would not say this is a bridge. This could be kind of like I don't know what you would call this. Um, if any of you in chat know what you would call that, type that in because I can't think of it right offhand. I would not call it a bridge, but maybe a bike bridge or something like that. I don't know. And Jackie Young, yes, they say no shoes. He was he was barefoot. And so that comment says him giving a snap of I'm at the bridge for someone that had never been there. So this person has some insider information, whether it's true, whether it's not. It's still a lot more than most people have. But he sent it for a friend or was it for everyone? This has not been the first time it's possibly happened in this area. We had a young lady that went missing and kidnapped this past summer. Unfortunately, the police department was never involved like this. She was brought back from Florida. Terrible. If he was going to meet someone on Tinder, why would he go barefoot? I would think he would present himself better to someone who he thought would be a girl. Not guys this age, though, to be honest. Especially if she was like, I'm just going to drive by real quick to say hi. How is there proof with the roommate being asleep at the time that he was? Do the parents and the roommates can account for all his shoes in the closet? They said they saw him without his shoes on surveillance. I know the surveillance on the gate was not working. I'm not sure if there was surveillance elsewhere. So there's some intellectual thought there. It's not far fetched. That's what I'm trying to say. It's not far fetched. It's not something that you beyond the realm of could possibly have happened. This is another one too that you know this was this could or could not be Caleb, but the reason I want to show this is because this could be another missing person that was found based on looking for a missing person, which could be awesome at any point. It's a long shot, but took a picture just in case. Fresh buzzed haircut, pretty clean and looked exhausted. I tried comparing pictures, but if you notice, he has cuts and bruises on his face. Maybe his lips are swollen from getting roughed up. What I noticed most is he has a suntan from wearing fishing sunglasses or safety glasses. Maybe my wishful thinking is Caleb. So there's the picture. And here's some of the comments. Somebody said, Is that Jesse? And this guy says, It has to be Jesse. It looks like the photo that was posted to him. Looks exactly alike. Also, as you zoom into the ear, both shaped the same kind of, and the lip has scar. How old would Jesse be? And then they talked about that. And then they give you a side by side. You tell me what you think. Could this be Jesse? Jesse was not seen it since, let's see, he wasn't seen since June 26th of last year. So June 26, 2023. Could that be Jesse? This person says looks exactly like him. I hope it's one of these missing people. This person said it's the ear, which looks pretty close. And then we get people like this. They look nothing alike. Okay, that's your opinion. And then this one says, well, they look enough alike that the sister thinks so, and she's going to Corpus tomorrow to search for him. That's all you got to say. She'd know better than any of us. Then this person says, looks nothing alike. Who's the sister? I'd love to know that is him. That's Scar. So, can you imagine having a loved one that had been missing, that really hasn't gotten a lot of exposure, and then somebody posts this, and then somebody starts automatically saying, well, that's not him. They look nothing alike. That's your perception. That's your perception. And this is another part that I wanted to show you, the reason that I brought up the map earlier. Here's the last location of Caleb's snap at 3:12 p.m. or a.m. ping. Finally getting permission to get photos for everyone. Hang tight. I'll be posting his snaps too. Based on what I was told, no traffic area or no traffic camera footage has Caleb. So I'm going to show you the map. I thought I knew stuff pretty good, but I had no idea that this Snapchat could ping you. So I believe that this is his apartment complex. Down where my mouse is. And then it pinged this direction. And then from here to here, how did he get here? Then it pinged here, then it pinged here, and pinged here. It says Coastal Bend Pain Management Building was his last phone ping. Was he in that parking lot? Curious if they have cameras. So this person obviously lives in the area because he knows exactly what business that is. I couldn't tell you. Coastal Bend Pain Management Building. I don't even see that on the map, but this person knows where it is. So 303 started here and 312 here. Wow, another 12-minute crime. This is just crazy. I zoomed in on the building. Looks like they possibly have cameras on the outside. Went to check out the Lone Star Urgent Care. It's not camera. They use outdoor lamps. Coastal Bend Pain Management had a camera, but it's directly facing downward. But that would have been no help. Some were asking about the bus stop. So here's a photo of what the bus stop looked like a few minutes ago. Looks like it has a homeless person sleeping on it. Wow, these people are right on the spot. That's awesome. It says phones don't really float. I'd imagine if the phone was in the water, it would have just sunk to the bottom. It would need to be pretty rough current to go that far down. Most likely ended up getting in a car. If it's dry, maybe it was tossed there. Yeah, it could be possible the phone is somewhere around the last ping. If Ellie already had that information, I'm sure they have already talked to the business and searched that area really good. See, they're not arguing, they're not talking condescending, they're not claiming to know more information than the other. Way to stay classy, my Texas people. It says he fishes. Maybe he had a floating phone case. Seems logical for a fisherman. Yes, indeed, it does. Says I was at the Bay Area for an appointment last Tuesday, and the CCPD had bloodhounds searching the field next to the pain management building, and the CCPD search and rescue team was across the street at the end of the creek. Oh, so that indicates they had access to the last ping for a while. I've been really frustrated regarding their lack of commitment or communicating any details at all, much less just general information that might be in the community's best interest. It said probably needed to investigate a potential crime area without it being disturbed, contaminated. The police are not the enemy. Yes, indeed. I'm totally aware of that, but thank you. I've never once stated that I believe LA are the enemy. I grew up in a family full of cops, my grandfather's uncles, yada, yada, yada. Okay, then they start talking about Riley's strain case. Okay, I just wanted to show you this map to give you an understanding. The Snapchat can track pings, I guess, your location if your location's on your phone. This lady says, I used to work at the Coastal Bend Pain Management. They have cameras on every corner of the building, inside and out. It covers the entire perimeter. Well, that's good to know. I drew this possible walking path on Google Earth. It's zero point 0.9 miles. After doing some math, it would take about 22 minutes to walk that. So 9 minutes does not make sense. He had to be in a car. So let's look at this person's rendition. I really don't see what they're talking about, but there's that interstate that we've been talking about. I get this is his apartment, and I'm looking for the pain management place. He said he pinned it. Drew is possible walking. I don't know. But either way, it's interesting to think about. Because a lot of times you don't really understand on these maps how something can happen like this. It said the ping is not accurate. It's misleading. If you focus on the last picture, that is 100%. And when that pic was taken by the department, there's really heavy brush. Circle is bridge, and the brush is marked by being mowed down, but still very thick. Then they, good lord. But I wanted to show you the map of the pings and the fact that there are people looking into this in a more analytical way than just trying to base opinion on what happened. I think that there's not enough SOs looked into in these cases. Maybe they are. I mean, because of the HIPAA laws, you just can't blast people's information out there. In towns, cities, there's an SO map that anybody can download. I'm sure it would blow your mind if you downloaded one today and you saw how many SOs lived around your area. You would probably be mortified if you have small children or individuals that can't take care of themselves. And this comment is true too. This is something my mind keeps coming back to. Young men are missing, and each disappearance could be unrelated, but it's still one of many possibilities. I mean, that's true. That's true. Okay, this information gives some more information about the Uber Eats. So the Uber Eats was ordered at 2:20 a.m. to 3:30 a.m. Driver says she left it at the door with a pick confirmation. Does anyone have the pick? Just wondering what time it actually was dropped off. So it was ordered at 2:20, and she dropped it off at 3:30. So he was already gone. If the last ping was at 3:03. The only thing that was told to us that the Uber Eats picked up the order at 3:20 from the convenience store and then dropped it off in front of his house. Wasn't one of the roommates at home? No answer seems to mean the Uber either knocked on the door or rang the doorbell. Caleb stated he wanted the order left at the door, which is probably did because he had to take a picture. I do Uber, and when a customer wants order left at the door, we have to provide the customer with a picture of where exactly it was left. That makes a lot of sense. One of his roommates was upstairs asleep. I have no problem believing he didn't hear the doorbell or not. They don't always knock, depends on instructions. We have had plenty leave it on the porch, take, pick, and leave. True. Okay, this is the creator of the page. She's a friend of the family. She says, last saw Caleb downstairs. He fell asleep, then got up at some point and went to bed. Didn't see Caleb again. This is talking about the roommate. Exact time is unknown. Point is, he was asleep and didn't hear anyone delivering Uber Eats. My understanding is approximately 3:20, and she took a picture of the delivery left at the door. Wow, so it took an hour to get his food. That's crazy. I mean, unless where the pickup location was a ways away, or it took a while for a driver to accept the order. You know, that kind of statement right there, this one right here, and I'm not trying to be mean here or anything, but statement like this tells you where the person's mindset is. You can't argue with people like this with this mindset. Here, this lady, Priscilla Carlisle, is the creator of the page. She knows the family. She's probably prevalent to more information than anybody on this case other than the police because her family has probably told her. So she created this page. And then a person like this gets on here and they make a comment like this. Wow, so it took an hour to get his food? That's crazy. I mean, unless where the pickup location, then she starts to think about what she says. Or she even thought a little more. But the initial reaction says, I can't believe that. There's no way that's true. And maybe I'm misreading that, but you know what? I see that so many times on these pages that, I don't understand people's thinking. It's almost they don't want to believe it so much because they can't understand it. Have you ever had delivery after midnight? It does take a long time to get to you because there's a lot of things going on. I've been to concerts, I've been to football games, I've been to all over in the middle of the night in big cities trying to get an Uber, trying to get a Lyft or something of that nature. It is difficult to get one of those services because that's the time when everybody's trying to get home. So those are the popular things to take you home if you've been drinking or whatever. So, or you just don't want to, you didn't take your car to whatever location, or you're trying to get food. So they deliver food, they deliver people. So Let's say they pick up your food and then they have to go drop somebody off. Drop two or three people off and they got their food in the front seat, or they got their cigarettes or your dip or whatever, and they're trying to get that to you, and it's going to take a while. You know? And here's another one that has a good case. I thought the same thing and wondered if maybe he got up sick of waiting and started walking to that 7-Eleven nearby that's open 24/7 to get it himself. He wouldn't need his keys or wallet for that. He could just use tap to pay on his phone. That's feasible, very feasible. I've done that. I've gotten tired of waiting and went and got my stuff. It's feasible. But to instantly question why something takes so long, so you expect things to, and then this person says CCPD didn't release that and neither did Uber. So who knows? I'm releasing it for now. But the fact of the matter is that you can't be speculative on everything that you hear. You have to learn to trust again. We as a nation, we want to question everything for whatever reason. When did we become so non-believing that somebody could be honest with you and you still don't believe them? Not everything can be proven. Let's listen to what this person says. It says, I went to school at TAMUCC, and when they have classes with people that lived at the cottages, which back when I went to college was called Aspen Heights. I don't want to associate Caleb with this, but it needs to be said. College kids drink, which lead to other drugs, and from my personal experience with living and being part of that college life, if you lived in that complex, you were soon to see or be around it. I'm a true crime girly at heart and putting this out there for people to see. I think this case had linked to other mysterious disappearances. He will either be found like Riley Strain or someone did harm to him. Thought? Why would you put this on here? But I understand it. 5 hours ago. And let's see what they say. Because that's a hell of a statement to make when somebody's missing. Somebody's parents are reading it. A family friends reading this. Same TAMUCC alumni. I have a weird feeling he agreed to something, but then he realized it was a bad idea, backed out, and didn't like that. I'd like to chime in and say my two girls lived there when it was Aspen. There was plenty of people that kept to themselves and didn't engage in any of that activity of that sort. There you go. Voice of reason. No offense, but are you them? Did you personally live there? It's a different experience for everyone. Okay, no need to argue. None taken. Would you like to speak with them? Did you live there? I currently live there. I currently live here and have been for almost 3 years now. I've been to parties there, but mostly keep to ourselves with my roommates and know many others that do keep to themselves. Great job. It can be done. Keep your head down and keep working hard towards your goal. I agree. I was once a college kid myself, and the party life was real. Even my classmates, when I used to live behind the cottages, I would always hear parties, especially during summer night. During those years of life, of course, college people will experience something in life. Thank you for being real. Okay. I want to talk to you a little bit about this because it's been brought up in other cases. And um, I don't know how many of you actually went to college or how many actually drank in their early teens, college age. experimented with drugs, or promiscuous, any of that stuff. All that goes hand in hand when you're young. And if you didn't experience that life, then you don't know about that life. You can read about it, you can hear about it, you can have your own kid tell you about it. But if you've never lived that life, you'll never know about it. There's a lot of things that go on in that life that are sometimes criminal in nature. There's things that go on in that life that you grow up later on and you go, what the hell was I thinking? How did I get out of that alive? Many people young, especially with most of these individuals that have been having their lives taken or they've made poor choices or things of that nature, I'm sure they weren't thinking this is going to be my last night to live and this is the poorest decision I've ever made. So what am I doing here? No, I'm no way victim shaming once again. This individual is lost and needs to be brought home. But there's a lot of individuals that act like certain things don't happen when you're young, or the kids are much different these days than they were 20, 30 years ago. It still goes on, and sometimes hardcore. There's a lot more things that can kill you these days quicker than there was probably when we were doing it. But the point to be made is this. Could he have went out looking for female companion for the night? Of course he could have. Could he have just went to the bridge and said, hey, meet me down by the bridge. I'll meet you for the first time. Because a lot of times these individuals don't want to meet up with you if they're not real. So, what if he convinced this girl who he thought was real, had been talking to for a while, exchanging pictures, this, that, and the other, said, hey, I'm about to go fishing, but you're in the area? Hey, can we meet up down by the bridge? I'll take a snap and show you where the bridge is. He walked down by the bridge, is all excited, just ordered something from the convenience store. So something pulled him away from his order. Something took his attention from his order of food. So it had to be pretty intense, whatever it was. If it was food, it was something, or whatever, something took focus on. I've done it. I've walked away from a fresh plate of food that was just cooked. I'll be right back. Throw on some shoes. Don't take anything, but I mean, we didn't have cell phones then. I'd take my beeper. That's about it. I didn't really care about anything else. It was just about that. And to get to meet a person that you haven't met before and they're just happen to be in your area, hey, I'm just passing through there. I'm going, I don't know, wherever. I'm going to Galveston. But I can meet you for a couple minutes. All right, I'll be down by this bridge. Okay. So he meets down there, and it's not what he thought. The moderator says, in the last hour, the subject of Caleb's roommate had been brought up again. I understand how one mind can jump to conclusions about the young man and share the apartment with Caleb. Before we go down a rabbit hole, I want to direct everyone to the earlier post from CCPD. Both roommates have been questioned extensively, along with the girlfriends, who can vouch for their whereabouts. The men have taken polygraph tests and been very helpful in the investigation. They have been cleared as suspect. Caleb's family wholeheartedly believes they are innocent. I hope this answers any further question and ends further speculation about the subject. Thank you so much, Ms. Karloff, for bringing that up because, if some other families would have done this in some other cases like the Idaho 4, where they honestly would have provided some information such as this, then those other individuals may not have been dragged through the mud like they had, but they didn't. And it's not their fault, it's not their fault. Things happen when you're grieving, when you're hurt, when you're shut down emotionally. But then you have somebody like this who still does not believe what this person just wrote. This person is a family friend. Why would she lie about this? Miss Carlisle, where has it been stated that they all took a polygraph and passed? Where has it been stated that the roommates and the girlfriends are all cleared by CCPD? Another thing I would like to know is why did I see a news story that was filmed after the release of the last ping after 2:58 a.m. with a video of a family member stating the last ping in known location was at 2:58 a.m. and the phone was shut off? How can anyone expect people not to be concerned with all of the misinformation that's being given by the family? Understand that things have come to light that no one want to admit publicly due to not to be wanting to protect Caleb and his friends. That's okay, but I do not agree with the misinformation. How's that going to help? I was also told by someone credible, will not give my source to anyone, that the apartment was scrubbed clean after Caleb went missing. So when the crime lab went over to the apartment, there was nothing there for them to collect. To be fair, I was told the roommates were told to scrub it clean, again to protect themselves and Caleb's and the reputation, presumably due to extracurricular activities at the apartment. Also, there was a certain firearm that is MIA. All that the cleaning and hiding is doing and make it impossible for Ellie to do their jobs. Who cares what Caleb was into? It doesn't change the fact he is missing. It doesn't change the fact that the murderers are still out there free as birds. I'll be continuing to pray for good outcome for the investigation, Caleb and his loved ones. However, I am being called to look into other missing person cases now, and I'm making the decision to help them with their cases. Again, I pray for everyone involved. I pray the truth comes to light quickly. To all who want to attack me, save it. I won't be responding to anyone. Every Everything will come to light eventually, and I pray my source is wrong. However, I highly doubt that they are. Have a good rest of the day, and God bless you all. Who is this person? She's being called on another missing persons case. Neither have I. Yeah, who's more reliable than the family? She said, I'm not sure it's more reliable than the family, I'm in direct contact with. Not only the family, but I speak to one of Caleb's friends, moms who has known Caleb since grade school, and a couple of Randy's closest friends. Who's your source that knows more than his own parents? I'm curious to know. People start to argue about this. Says, I'm one step ahead of you. I already concluded it's wrong. Please tell me how this random person would know more than his own parents. I will play who knows more game because I know for a fact his family knows more than her. Half of what she said wasn't even accurate. There were dust galore in that apartment. It was not scrubbed down. Only thing they cleaned up was Caleb's room. They were looking for his shoes, firearms, fishing gear, and anything possibly missing. And then she went on to say, I don't think it's been stated anywhere about the polygraph. That came straight from Randy Caleb's dad's mouth. CCPD hasn't really said much of it. If you haven't noticed, Randy told me roommates and Caleb's friend who was over that night have all been interrogated and cleared. I know police have confiscated at least one of the friend's phones. I'm not sure they looked at all. Which family member did the news story release after the recent ping? Are you certain it was a new video and not one that's been repeated? I've noticed the news have been repeating the same article several times, or the family could have misspoken, not thinking keyboard warriors would dissect every word. I haven't heard anything about scrubbing the apartment, but I can make one phone call and find out. For the firearms, I personally was told they're all accounted for. That came from his dad. There isn't any extracurricular activities other than smoking some MJ sometimes, which college kid doesn't. They're stating there are murders when we have no idea what happened. At this time, LE do not suspect foul play occurred, so I'm not sure where you're getting your information from or your murderer from. And then the admin says, I can't speak about the information been given. I don't know if an official statement has been made about taking polygraph tests. I have confirmation that it did happen. You can choose to believe it or not. I know that to be a fact. There is no way to know the result. There is no information that would be released. However, the CCPD indicate they aren't currently under suspicion. The roommates were asked by Caleb's mom or dad, I guess, to clean the room in order to account for anything that may be missing. This included shoes, clothing, fishing gears, rifles, etc. It's my understanding all those things were accounted for. I think we should exercise caution presuming why things were and were not being done. That being said, Caleb and his roommate seem to be average college age men, so they would be expected to have the same habits, engage in the same activities as most guys their age do. I think it's premature to assume a murder has taken place because that simply isn't enough evidence at this point to make it that conclusion. I can assure you there is no intention to cover anything up or hide it from the police. Everyone close to Caleb wants him home. I know the Harris family appreciates all your help and all your prayers. Thank you for all your assistance. God bless you all. That is terrible that somebody would say that. But she's on two other cases, whoever she is. So once again, I won't read anymore because it's a long, it's a month's worth or more of things. But if you have Facebook, um, here's his information. 5'11", 180 pounds, Corpus Christi. The page is called Missing, Talk of Caleb Harris. Go check it out. Go get some information on your own and possibly pass the word if you see or hear anything. And try to remember to not speculate on things you know nothing about. And if you hear of something, do your own research and try to find out the correct information if you can. Because not everything is going to pop up in your face as, well, this is what happened, or this is where it's going, or this is, this and that and the other. Like that lady just said, the murderers are still free. Um, George, Georgie or George, if I'm mispronouncing your name, I'm sorry. You asked me if I have a theory on this case. I really didn't because I didn't know much about it because there wasn't a lot of information out there until I started digging today. And the more that I've read and the more that I've seen, I would possibly say that it leans to possibly being lured somewhere, like they were saying, maybe he went to meet a female, the female that he was talking to on Discord, um, and possibly taken. I mean, maybe he's being held somewhere for whatever reason. Maybe he owes somebody some money, or maybe somebody didn't like him. Maybe he's messing with somebody's woman, Maybe somebody got mad, or, Georgia. Okay, thank you. Um, I really don't know enough about it yet. There's not a lot of conclusive information. Most of the stuff that I read you was off the Facebook page. And the reason that I see more of that being applicable is because it seems like the administrator of that page and there's family members on that page that are talking specifically about certain things and they're debunking things that aren't true. So, um, like I said a while ago, something had to lure him out of his, lure him away from the food or whatever he ordered from the convenience store to take him away from that, from his fishing trip he was about to go on. Something strong took him away from that. As a male, I can tell you there's only certain things that would lure you away. When I was that young, it would have been number one, would have been a woman. Number two could have been helping somebody in need. Number three would have been possibly stopping in at another apartment to see some other friends or something and hang out. Number four would have been possibly um, going to get some food, but he had some food or whatever coming, some snacks. So you take those four things off the table, it kind of narrows it down. Since he's no longer, I mean, nobody's seen him, nobody's heard from him, chances are he's not in that area. If he is, then he could be held in one of those apartments or something. Who knows? But that's as close as theory. I mean, not theory, that's hypothesis because I don't have the end result, the end result of the puzzle, which would make more sense than speculating. Um, that's all I have for you today, guys. Thank you so much for coming into the chat. Thank you for your kind comments. Um, if you enjoyed what you saw here on this live, tell your friends, bring them over to the channel, have them like or subscribe if they enjoy content like what I present. I try not to speculate, I try to dig deeper than the surface, and I do want this known. I'm not an investigator. I'm going to school for criminal justice. I'm about to have my bachelor's in about 6 more hours of classes, and I will be having my bachelor's in criminal justice. So I do know what I'm talking about to an extent because everything that I've been talking to you guys on other cases is things that I've been learning along the way. So I hope you have a very glorious weekend. And if you're from Texas, if you're down from the Gulf region, and you do have any tips or any viable information on Caleb Harris, please do the right thing and contact local authorities or the DPS, Department of Public Safety, state troopers, or the Texas Rangers to get this information out. This individual needs to come home. Hopefully he's safe. Hopefully it doesn't turn out like Riley or some of the other ones. And should it happen to be, if you have children of that age, please inform them. Or if they're younger, please inform them about the dangers of people luring them away from a safe environment to something that could potentially harm them or take them away from their loved ones. Well, this is 12 gauge, and I'm